Well, that was our video of the Franchise for Humanity at Stanford University, and that was fun interviewing all those people. But let me ask you this. Do you feel that the conference achieved its purpose? Did you get what you hoped to out of it?
Yes, the people who met each other there, not only did we have these wonderful presenters, but we all sat around the table and tried to help each other. We have now since then instituted the next Tuesday call, so that every Tuesday at 10 a.m., all of the people that you just saw and the bunch of people who attended come into a one phone call where we report on the projects that we're doing. And somebody says, oh yeah, I can help with that. And so we've got Stan Gould, who has now put a whole group of people, and he's helping Jonathan Trent with Omega, this very promising biofuel opportunity. Sandy Bates has invited a whole bunch of us to attend the Edison Awards, so there'll be a Franchise for Humanity contingent. All of this came about because the idea of iteration, Sam talked about, you got to keep doing it, you got to keep doing it. Kimberly talked about trust and communication. This doesn't happen with one conference. By the next Tuesday calls, since that conference in February 21st, we've had 8 conference calls. It's been 8 weeks. We've just kept going, and people are excited about it. I just got a note yesterday from somebody who said hugs in his email, because the whole thing is now, he would never have said that. I only just met him for the first time at the conference, but now we're having these calls every week. People are getting a sense of each other, where they're coming from, what they stick with. We're getting to know each other. We're beginning to do things. This can make a difference. I came to this idea of the next Tuesday call because of Engelbart's ideas about networked improvement communities. That informed people within the Department of Health and Human Services. I was asked by the U.S. Department of Defense to join their effort to look at the future of health in order to bring Doug's ideas about networked improvement communities. The Franchise for Humanity is the distillation of 5 years of work that I did with the Department of Defense, where we looked at the future of health. And what we came down to was simple. It's just like Kimberly said. We have to look at health as communities. We have to decide, let each community decide what is it that they consider important and help them take the lead in that. We look at the Affordable Care Act and think, why hasn't President Obama done this and that and the other? Health cannot happen top down. President Obama cannot make you healthy. We have to make ourselves healthy. When we take that challenge, we can do something with it. Franchise for Humanity is empowering people to realize, let's not wait for the government. The government can help. The government has helped a lot by providing the internet. But now it's up to us to define what kind of communities we want to live in, what kind of lives we want to live.
Now, what are your aspirations for Franchise for Humanity? Where do you want it to be in, say, 3 years from now?
I see us continuing the effort to spread the word about this way of working. So a university in China has already said, can we have a chapter of Franchise for Humanity? The folks who attended from Nigeria want to have a chapter there. The people who came from Brazil, they're working with Sandy Bates, and they're doing things, and they'd like to have a Franchise for Humanity chapter in Brazil.
Well, it sounds like both of your organizations could be replicated, and maybe either one of you could answer this. If other groups spring up imitating some of your ideas, I assume that's perfectly okay. And are you looking for a network or just groups even just working alone, accomplishing something?
I think Mei Lin mentioned this network of improvement communities, and that when you connect these networks together, you get this leveraging effect, you get this compound interest effect of impact, and that's what really we're trying to achieve.
Let me describe it a different way. When you have many, many experiments going on, it's not surprising if you have thousands of experiments, 1 or 2 really succeed. What's important is to keep track of all 1,000, find the ones that succeed, and have them replicate. That is really what has happened within the U.S. Federal Department of Health and Human Services. They have 9,000 community health centers. They look for what they call positive deviants, those positive exemplars who, against the odds, did something good. Those were then identified as the gold standard, and the gold standard, to maintain that, they had to write a toolkit, a template to help every other community health center attain that same standard.
Now, do you have ever any difficulties when you're dealing with people from very different cultures? If you're dealing with people from the same culture, communication is a little easier, but people who have had vastly different life experiences, dealt with different problems, are you trying to network with people in those cultures as well, and how does that work out?
Sam?
So that actually addresses one of the other principles that are behind Program for the Future. We're trying to come up with what is not a centrally controlled mechanism for making impact, but we're trying to come up with what is that key genome of behavior, of conduct, of values, that if you just drop leaflets, all over the entire world, people would individually align themselves with these kind of things, okay? So in the community of impact, which is one of the efforts coming out of Program for the Future, we're trying to just get a few practices that we would like to spread. And these practices help people become accountable to themselves and become transparent to their colleagues. And what we really mean by that is talk about what you want to do, talk about how you want to do it, but have very close, very trusted colleagues who can actually hold you accountable to your own execution and to your own values, your own communication, your own compensation, your own measurement of your effects.
So let me jump in, because you asked a specific question about how do you deal with people from different cultures. I think the answer is very carefully to understand that people can have vastly different life journeys to have come to the same place. I can say that because I myself have lived in 4 continents. I was born in Singapore. I learned English in the UK as a kindergartner. I lived in Singapore for 15 years, and I lived in Australia for 8 years before coming here. That has really taught me the importance of respecting human dignity, that listening to somebody is critical for understanding and gaining trust and wanting to keep trust. Trust is something that spans cultures. It's a human aspiration.
So there might be some human commonality that transcends culture itself, things we all have in common just by virtue of the fact that we're humans, independent of culture.
But don't assume that. The whole thing is to earn trust. It's the act of wanting to be trusted. That itself, that earnestness of wanting to earn your trust will allow you to span the cultural.
And I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I'd like to continue it, but unfortunately we're out of time, so we are going to have to wrap. I'd like to thank my guests, Sam Han and Mei Lin Feng. Thank you for watching. Visit our website at www.futuretalk.net. For Future Talk, I'm Marty Wasserman, and we'll see you next time.